It is somehow the last regular season weekend of the NFL season, and I have three early line shopping bets for you guys to lock in for the NFL Week 18 betting slate. What I do with these early bets is I look across all of the sports books. I use OddsJam to line shop, and I try to find situations where we have value. Now, I haven't done this the past couple weeks as I've been traveling for the holidays and whatnot. Overall, the season for the NFL admittedly has been better on player props than it has on main lines. As you can see, we are up over 14 units on our player props. We are down over 3 units on our main lines, bringing our total profit on the entire NFL season a little over 11 units on the year. I haven't done, as I mentioned, these early line shopping bets in a couple weeks. Hopefully, we can have a 3-0 day, making it a great end to the regular season. If you are riding with me, make sure to comment and let me know. And let's get into it. Let's get right into these three plays. So the first one that we're going to go ahead and lock in here is in the Bucks versus Panthers game. And we're taking the Bucks minus 4.5. This is at minus 117 odds at SportTrade. So we're paying a little bit of juice getting this at minus 117 odds, but that's where the best bang for your buck is. And despite the gross loss against the Saints last week, it's pretty simple for the Bucks, and we're still riding with them. All they need to do is win, and they are in the playoffs. Luckily, they get an extremely easy matchup to do so, going up against the worst team in the NFL by far, just a horrible football team, in the Carolina Panthers. This Panthers team, by the way, had their owner literally pour a drink on the opposing fan base because he was upset. That is how things are going for the Carolina Panthers. They are the worst team in the NFL according to DVOA. They have the worst, they have the second worst offense and the 26th ranked defense. It's not very much not good. They also have the worst point differential in the NFL as well. I know how bad the Bucks looked last week, and it was bad against the Saints. They basically didn't show up. But this is about as great of a bounce back scenario as you can get, knowing they can win this game and have a home playoff game. And they have, again, the worst team in the NFL, especially how the Panthers play. They want to try and run the ball. You can't do that against the Bucks. The Bucks don't have a great passing defense, but that doesn't matter going up against the worst passing offense in the NFL in the Carolina Panthers. And prior to last week, the Bucks had actually been playing pretty well, and that includes Baker Mayfield had been playing pretty well heading into last week as well. They had won 4 straight. Again, this is heading into the Saints game. They beat the Packers by 14. They had beaten the Jaguars by 18. That also includes a victory against these Panthers. Granted, that was only a 3-point victory against the Panthers, but that was also a game in which the Bucks were winning by 11 late in the fourth quarter and let up a garbage time touchdown. That was also the Panthers' first game after they fired Frank Reich, and everybody knows you get the bump the game after you fired the head coach, and it doesn't last for the rest of the season. That's how it's gone on for the Panthers. They did get a win against a pathetic Falcons team, but they've mostly been pretty pathetic outside of, they didn't even win this game. They only lost by 3. Again, the Panthers are the worst team in the NFL, according to DVOA, the worst point differential in the NFL as well. I think this is going to be a game in which the Bucks are easily able to handle it, cashing the minus 4.5 ticket for us. Next up, in the Bills versus Dolphins game, I'm taking the Bills minus 2.5, minus 122 odds at BetRivers. Now, I give the Bills props. They've rattled off 4 straight victories after a 6-6 start, including some pretty brutal losses in that 6-6 start as well. And now they find themselves in a position where if they win this game, if they beat the Dolphins, they're going to win the division. And they're also getting the Dolphins at a very good time. Not only are the Dolphins reeling, just coming off of a blowout, just got spanked by the Ravens, but they're also extremely banged up. The Dolphins are. They already lost one of their stud pass rushers early in the season, and Jalen Phillips, and now they most likely lost Bradley Chubb to a torn ACL in the last game against the Ravens. Also, what happened in the last game against the Ravens is Xavier Howard, one of their top cornerbacks, got hurt. He's likely to miss this game. Jalen Waddle has already been out with a high ankle sprain. It's unlikely that he is able to return in this game. And not only that, Tua banged up his shoulder as well. Now, the reports are that Tua is going to play, but if you have a bum throwing shoulder, that's always a concern for a quarterback, not to mention all of the other injuries that they have. So as I mentioned, they really are getting banged up at the worst time. The Bills are going to be able to play the Dolphins at the best time. And it really is too bad for the Dolphins. You got to feel bad for them. It looked like they were set up possibly for a first round bye if things had gone their way after beating the Cowboys. But now they find themselves not only not having a first round bye, but they're looking at an away game in Kansas City for the wild card round. Now, Kansas City hasn't been impressive this year, but it's still going into Kansas City and having to play them in the playoffs. It's a tough break for the Dolphins. And looking at the Bills, even as they were struggling throughout the middle of the season, again, starting 6-6, they always performed well according to advanced stats. Games that they lost close. Games that they won, mostly they blew out teams. Right now, DVOA has the Bills as the third-ranked team in the NFL, the fourth best offense, and the 12th best defense. Now, I will admit that the Bills' defense is not what it was at the beginning of the year when they laid the beatdown on the Miami Dolphins, but I'm confident that the Bills are going to take care of business in this one, cashing the -2.5 ticket for us. And last up, third and final pick for this video, Eagles versus Giants game. I'm taking the Giants +5.5, -105 odds at FanDuel. Now, to start, this is an awesome, really, really good price we're getting on FanDuel. Not only are we getting this at -105 odds, so better odds than the standard -110 play you get when you're taking a main line, but literally every other book, every single one, has their main line of this play at 5 or 4.5. Normally, if you're getting more points than what the majority of books are offering, you're not also getting a better price at -105. Now, I do understand that we're not getting this above a key number, right? We're not getting it, 3.5 or 7.5, nothing like that. 4.5 to 5 to 5.5 is not above a key number, but it's still a positive expected value play. And it's still a situation where NFL lines are so tight. So beating the spread by the majority of the sports books, including the sharp ones, by a full point, it's a pretty big deal. For reference, Pinnacle, which is generally regarded as the sharpest book in the world, prices this at -116 with only 14 cents of juice. So this is a really good play from a positive expected value perspective. And we also get to fade the Eagles, who have not only looked like complete crap for about 6 weeks now, but they also might not even play their starters in this one. They might give their starters a break before the playoffs. Now, technically, the Eagles could still win the division if they win this game and if the Cowboys lose. But the Cowboys are playing the Commanders. They're 13-point favorites. The Commanders have basically given up on the season, so it's extremely unlikely that the Cowboys do win. And we all know the Eagles could use a reset button after how things are going. But regardless, that part is still an unknown. Even if the Eagles play their starters, I still would like the points with the Giants. As I mentioned, the Eagles have looked legitimately horrible for about 5 weeks now. They're 1-4 in their last 5 games. That includes 2 blowouts to 2 good teams, admittedly 2 good teams, but 2 blowouts to the 49ers and the Cowboys, and then lost to 2 inferior opponents in the Seahawks and the Cardinals. They lost to Drew Lock, and last week they lost to the 3-12 Cardinals. That Cardinals game, by the way, the Cardinals didn't punt. They rushed for over 200 yards, and they had over 30 first downs. According to EPA, it was the 3rd worst defensive performance of the entire year. And the only thing surprising about that stat is that there were somehow 2 performances that were worse than what the Eagles did. Again, the Cardinals literally didn't punt the entire game. The Eagles are clearly in free fall. They fired their defensive coordinator. They brought in Matt Patricia, who has done nothing outside of New England. And even some of his defenses with Bill Belichick weren't that good. And the Giants are actually playing tough to end the season. Now that they're playing Tyrod Taylor, they're showing a little bit more juice on offense. And I know that these teams literally just played 2 weeks ago and the Eagles won by 8, so they would have covered this spread. But Danny DeVito, technically Tommy DeVito, played the first half and the Eagles were up big in the first half. The second half, the Giants outscored the Eagles 22-13. Yes, part of that was turnovers and how the Giants scored. But the Eagles have been turning over the ball all year. There's no reason why that won't continue in this one. So getting 5.5 points for the Giants, I think is really good. I also wouldn't hate sprinkling on their money line as well, but we're just going to track whether they cover the 5.5. And that's all we got. 3 plays for you guys to lock in. If you are riding with me, make sure to comment and let me know. Other than that, remember to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Appreciate everybody watching. Hope you had a good new year and have a good one.